Hi, this is Nilton from craftofprogramming.com, and this is part 2 of the complete setup of Intellij IDEA. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I would like to cover here is the Intellij Key Map. So let's first take a quick look at the Keymap reference. So you have here the Keymap for Windows and Mac. Now, my advice to you is to print this and learn these shortcuts. You know, a productive developer in an IDE minimizes the use of the mouse and memorizes a lot of keyboard shortcuts. This is going to make you extremely productive, so I highly recommend that you print this, keep it close to you in your desk, and every time you reach for the mouse, look for a key map, keyboard shortcut, and learn it so that you don't have to do it again. So the second thing I would like to show you is how we can customize this key map. So in particular, if you are a Windows user, you might be surprised to find that Control W is actually mapped to extend and shrink selection as opposed to close the active editor. Also, Control D here does not delete the current line, it copies the current line. To delete the line, you actually use Control Y. So I'm going to show you how to remap this closing of the active editor and duplicate an existing line. So in Intellij IDEA, what you do is we go to the project settings and we click on duplicate. We give it a name. So Nilton Key Map, and then we click on the keyboard icon and we type the shortcut that we want to remap. So recall that Control W is the one that we want to remap. So perhaps before I do that, let me just show you what exactly it does. So we have the scope here of a method call. Control W highlights that, and then it keeps highlighting the method name and the entire if block here, and then the method and so on, and it keeps going, including the full method signature and the Java doc, and Control Shift W shrinks that selection. So, and obviously Control F4 just closes the editor. So if I type Control F4, then notice that the editor got closed. So let's reopen it and go back to where we were. Okay, so now that we know what it does, again, how we do it is you click there, click Control W, and see Extend Selection. So what we do is we're going to delete that key, remove this shortcut. And now if you type Control W, there is nothing to show. So the opposite of extend selection is shrink selection, which is Control Shift W. Shrink selection. Let's remove that just to make it consistent. And let's remap it to close editor. So close editor or close active editor is mapped to Control F4, as you can see here. So let's remove that and let's map it to Control W. To add keyboard shortcut, and you just type Control W and you press OK, and let's test this. So now if I type Control W, notice now it's closing the editor instead of increasing the selection. So now we have the ability to close the editor, but we actually lost the ability to extend and shrink the selection, and we still want to have a keyboard for that. So let's go back to the editor and let's search for extend selection. So notice that there is no keyboard mapped, so we're going to map it to, for example, Control F4. And I mean, this is just an example. You can use whatever you want. So, and shrink selection, we also lost the keyboard shortcut. So let's add a keyboard shortcut, for example, Control Shift F4. Now, what I want to show you here is that IntelliJ warns you if the keyboard is already used by another action. So in this case, it is. So you have to first remove that. So let's go here to Control Shift F4, and we're going to remove it. And now that we remove it, we can do shrink selection. We can map it. Press OK. OK. And now we are in the code. So Control F4, now it's extending the selection, and Control Shift F4 is shrinking the selection. So another shortcut that I mentioned I would swap is the duplicate lines, which is currently mapped to Control D, with the delete lines, which is mapped to Control Y. So let's go to the settings, Keymap, and let's just search for Control D, which is duplicate line. So let's remove, and let's add, actually let's delete the Control Y first from delete line. So now that we deleted, we can assign here the Control D. So it's assigned to other actions in different scope, so that's fine. Let's say leave. So notice that now Control D is assigned to delete line. And let's search for duplicate line, duplicate entire line, and let's assign the Control Y. Let's press OK, and let's test. So Control D now deletes the line, and Control Y duplicates the line. Okay, so that's for Keymap customization. So one other thing I would like to show you is Quicklists. So Quicklists enables you to customize a pop-up with actions or group of actions that you use often. So for example, you have a quick switch scheme that enables you to quickly switch color scheme, code styles, or look and feel, or view modes. You have one for the version control operations. So why don't we set up one that has custom commands that we use often, instead of, it saves us time. We don't have to go to the menu and do that. So we go to settings, and we go to quick lists here, and we define our own quick list. So let's give it a name, Milton quick list. The description doesn't really matter. You can define your own. So one feature of quick lists is that they may include other quick lists. So you can define an hierarchy of commands that are grouped inside a list. So for example, let's create a quick list of quick lists. So the first one is probably going to contain refactoring commands that we use often, okay? And let's define shortcuts for it. So let's go to editor actions, actually main menu, refactor, and let's pick some bunch of commands that we might want to put there. So refactor commands, and we have this defined. So now let's open our quick list, which we define as refactoring commands. Refactoring commands, there you go. And notice that we now have these two options pull members up, and as you can see, it works. And you can do push members down. So this is a custom group of actions. Okay, so let's continue with the definition of our quick list, and let's define another list which we will call Nilton quick list. Very imaginative name, right? And this quick list will actually include a quick list that we just defined, and perhaps another command like I don't know, edit run configurations, for example. Edit configurations. Okay, so Nilton quick list. And now if I open it, notice that now I have the ability to invoke the other quick list, or I can edit configurations. So now that we have our quick list defined, notice that I've been invoking it by using the find action, and obviously, you know, it's much more efficient if we have a this command mapped to a keyboard shortcut. And to do that, we go to the editor, Keymap, quick list, we select the quick list, and we assign a keyboard shortcut for it. For example, I don't know, Control-Alt, backtick. So now if we type that command, then we have the quick list defined. So one other thing I want to show you is scopes. So for example, if you do a search, then you have these scopes defined. You have the project, module, directory, and these scopes. So IntelliJ comes packaged with these scopes, but it enables you to, you can define your own custom scopes in case you know, these are not, doesn't solve your problem. So to do that, you go to the settings and type scope, scopes, and here you can define your own. So press plus, local. Local means local, shared means if you want to share with other people. Nilton scope, and in here you can define your scope. So for the sake of this example, let's pick a package from a production, and you have the options to include just the classes in this level or recurse the entire directory tree instead that match the package. So let's just include the top level, and also let's include a corresponding test package. Click OK, and now when you go to do a search and you select scope, if it worked, then we should see our scope here. Okay, and notice that only the classes in our package are being searched. This concludes our video on the complete setup of Intellij IDEA Part 2. If you found this video useful, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, leave it comment below on suggestions on how to improve these videos moving forward. Also, please give it a thumbs up to support the channel. This is Nilton from craftofprogramming.com. Thanks for watching.